Welcome to a country designed by nature. Welcome to Gabon.
Nestled on the west coast of Africa, amongst the most opulent of natural resources, is this uniquely beautiful equatorial country. On our very special series, Gabon Calling, we bring you an experience that's truly unlike any other. Join me, Christina Devina Lasson, as we explore this magical land. The Republic of Gabon is bordered by Equatorial Guinea to the northwest coast of Africa, with a population of 1.8 million people. Gabon is the land of pristine rainforests and rich biodiversity. Being the largest exporter of processed wood in the region, this tropical country produces the most commercially viable timber species. The country's capital, Libreville, flaunts an array of restaurants that offer modern and traditional Gabonese cuisine. The managing editor of politics at Times Now, Navika Kumar, caught up with His Excellency Ali Bongo Ondimba, the President of the Republic of Gabon, to understand his vision for strengthening ties between India and Gabon. Take a look.
How do you see the relationship between India and Gabon going forward? Do you have a vision for India and Gabon's relationship?
We are always been very fascinated by India. As far as I can remember, in Gabon, Indian movies were always very popular, even though when I was, a child. And knowing more about the country, history, geography, I was always very impressed by your country. And then when I visited India, of course, it moved me, and then made me see that there were rooms, for cooperation between, partnership between our two countries. India is an example for all of us, because it's a country where there is you feel not only an ambition for this country to be developed, and though there are many problems, it's not a country with a lot of oil money, but still the intelligence of the people, the vision of the leaders, it's a big example for us. And so that's why I'm very, very keen to this partnership that we should have with India. And we had, when I was last in India during the summit between India and Africa, I had a nice, a very interesting conversation with Prime Minister Modi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a vision for Make in India and Produce in India. Do you think you see any possibility of a partnership between India and Gabon to bring Make in India to Gabon and have a partnership on that?
The example of what's happening in India is important for us. We have been, since independence, a country, producing and exporting and processed, raw goods. And this has put us in the category of, developing countries. Fine. But we went through, and we still in the middle of an economic crisis due to the oil, price falling down. And if it hadn't been for the policy that we developed 7, 8 years ago of, diversifying, our economy, we would be in deep trouble. What I mean is that though you have natural resources, if those resources are not manufactured, if you do not go through processing, then you will not achieve the type of development that you want. We want to become an emerging economy. And this is not going to happen if we do not go, through processing. So, therefore, this partnership with India is interesting because India has been going through that already. And India has potential, businessmen that could help us not only go through this phase, of processing, but also help us investing in infrastructure, agriculture, whatever, many other fields that are important for the development of our country.
Gabon's unique special economic zone is a significant contributor to the Gabonese economy. Now meet the visionary behind this impressive initiative and the infrastructure at the GSEZ. Gabon is fast emerging as West Central Africa's investment hub, and Gabon's Special Economic Zone, popularly known as the GSEZ, provides a taste of the most dynamic economic center in the country. GSEZ is a successful public-private partnership project between Olam International and the government of Gabon. The GSEZ is the outcome of a shared vision to effectively roadmap to the industrialization of Gabon. It houses the new Owendo International Port, which is a multi-cargo port, the mineral port, Gabon's wood hub, popularly known as the encapsulates, which acts as a core to attract investors by providing opportunities for growth and development. Mr. Gupta, now Olam International has been in existence for about 3 decades, but it's really you who has driven the success story here in Gabon. So can you take us through your journey and tell us what was your inspiration for developing such strong ties in this country?
Probably I'll start a little with the background of Olam in Gabon. So Olam in Gabon has been since 1998, but our transformation journey in Gabon began about 2010. And as we stand today, we have basically, you can say our business are into 2 buckets. One is agri bucket, another is ag logistics. Within ag business, we have 3 businesses, which is our palm plantations, 58,000 hectares of palm plantations. I must say they are sustainable and they are RSPO certified. We are the largest RSPO certified plantation in Africa. Second is our rubber business, that's about 11,000 hectares, rubber planted. And third is a very unique smallholder program where we are encouraging about 20,000 young Gabonese to become entrepreneurs and also helping Gabon achieve food self-sufficiency in basic products like banana, cassava, tomato, and chili. Yeah. That's the agri part of our business. On the ag logistics side of business, we have 3 key things. One is the SEZ, which I hope you have visited. If not, you should visit that. We have the port where you are standing and a bulk mineral port, which if you have not covered, you should cover that. These are the 6 key businesses that we have in Gabon. I think the journey started in 2010 when we are actually looking at Gabon and saying what this country is looking at and where does it fit in our strategy. So we looked at this country wanting to diversify away from their dependence on oil and wanting to move to transformation. Then we looked at this country which is really where the policy framework is strong, the bureaucracy is strong, the economic fundamentals are strong. That were the key criteria when we looked at the country. And when, as Olam, we looked at our strategy, so we want to get into upstream plantations. So we wanted to be in palm plantations in West Africa. And we are looking at various geographies. We looked at about 11 countries before we zeroed down on Gabon.
Right, okay.
And we zeroed on Gabon, as I said, because of the policy framework, because of the agroclimatic conditions, which ultimately made these projects competitive.
Right.
Because Gabon as a market is a very small market, and it's mostly that they have to export. So the products that we do here have to be globally competitive.
Absolutely.
And that's how we got into Gabon, and now it's a history. We are about 17,000 people, and we are the largest private sector employer. Our business are well settled, and very remarkable, they're all public-private partnerships. So where government and us have come together to create this.
Historically, Gabon has been dependent on fossil fuel exports, which has led to underinvestment in other fields like agriculture. So how is Olam helping the Gabonese government diversify its economy?
So, Davina, as I said, we are acting as a major player in the agriculture sector here through our palm plantations. So, Gabon, for the first time, used to be an importer of agriculture products, has started exporting palm oil. So, we have done 58,000 hectares plantations, which will export about 300,000 tons of palm oil. Secondly, on the food security side, so even the basic products like banana, cassava, manioc, chili, tomatoes, Gabon's food import was about 400 billion CFA in terms of dollars, talking of roughly about $800 million of imports of food products. Under the smallholder program grain, so what we help is we help smallholders get the land title. Once they get the land title, we help them prepare the land. Once they prepare the land, we give them the agri inputs, we give them the training, and then we come and help them lift their product and sell it in the market. So which essentially means by 2018 end, 2019 beginning, Gabon should be self-sufficient in things like banana, in cassava, in terms of tomato, chili. That'll be a big move from a country used to importing to really self-sufficient. And all this ultimately is adding to economic diversification. So if you look at it, in our plantation business, we employ about 15,000 people. Wow. And these are new jobs created, and these jobs are direct jobs. I'm not talking of indirect. If you include indirect, you're talking about 30,000 people. So 30,000 people in agriculture sector represents about 50% of the people that work in oil sector, which has existed for 40 years. And here's a new sector. In less than 7 years, we have created so many jobs which were created in the last 40 years. And that's the role of Olam, and that's the success of this public-private partnership that is actually helping transformation of agriculture sector in Gabon.
Fantastic. And you've also been very much responsible for the transformation of Olam overall here in Gabon. You've conceptualized the GSEZ, the Gabon Special Economic Zone, amongst other PPPs. So tell us, what was the inspiration behind this initiative and where does it stand today?
I think economic zone has been a key catalyst in transformation of Gabon's timber resources. If you look globally, so if you look at Malaysia, Malaysia is about 16 million hectares of forest, and their contribution to GDP in forestry sector is about close to $7 billion, and about 350,000 people work in the timber sector in Malaysia. If you roll back, Gabon has about 16 million hectares of forest. The number of people working in the timber sector is about 35,000, which is 1/10 that of Malaysia. The contribution to GDP is about $400 million. That's about less than 10% of contribution of GDP of timber sector in Malaysia, but with the same amount of forestry.
Sure, yeah.
Because Gabon had not taken a transformation route. So they had always exporting raw products. When you thought about economic zone, but how you can add value in the country that not only helps in economic diversification, that creates jobs, that creates sustainable timber business. And that's how we came about the idea of creating the economic zone. So the economic zone today is a resounding success. So in less than 6 years, we have over 112 companies there. We have 42 companies that are currently producing, 22 companies under construction. More importantly, if you look across Africa, I think all the countries would have announced economic zone in one form or fashion. But rarely you have seen successful economic zones. I can count on hand 2 or 3 economic zones that have been successful in Africa, and we are proud that we are one of them. This year we expect economic zone to have exports of roughly about 250 million euros. Next year we expect it to touch about 600 million euros. 2020, a billion euros export. So, and close to about 4,000 people currently work in the economic zone directly. We expect by the time 2020, we'll have about 18,000 people working directly in this sector. And therefore, I say it's successful. Since you come from India, I think I should point it out. We have actually realized a lot of Indian SMEs. We have over 40 Indian SMEs that are in the SEZ, and they're playing an important role in transformation. And for the other Indian SMEs in the timber sector, Gabon is an opportunity waiting for you to happen. Please come and look at investing in Gabon and ensure that you make good money.
We'll take a quick break now, but stay with us for a lot more action on Gabon Calling when we return. Welcome back to Gabon Calling. It's now time to meet the people, the places and the culture that truly make this a magical land. up is Gabon's ocean of timber tales. Now, with timber sales accounting for approximately 20% of all of Africa's wood exports, Gabon and its unique SEZ and the entrepreneurs who are thriving thanks to it is nothing short of inspiring. Popularly known as the Wood Hub, the Nkok SEZ provides 1,126 hectares of land on lease to established and emerging companies. 120 companies, domestic and international, have already settled in the Nkok SEZ. The Gabon Special Economic Zone is the administrating and managing agency for the Nkok SEZ. It dedicates almost 40 hectares for the manufacturing of luxurious homegrown furniture. It provides workshops and training to manpower, regular supply of quality wood to manufacturers, as well as quick and easy paperwork through Nkok SEZ single window clearance. To set up an SEZ of this scale in this period of time truly seems like quite a task. What does it take to see such a project through to success?
So there were two reasons mainly, one is natural reason or market force. For example, the wood processing industries. Wood is a scarce commodity. India doesn't have a wood resource.
Right.
It is dependent on imports. So obviously Indian manufacturers were looking for a reliable, sustainable source of timber, and Gabon was a rightful choice for them.
Absolutely.
And second has like the ease of doing business. So for example, we have investors into agri, into pharma, into cement. They had option of going into any other country, any other African country, but they decided to invest in Gabon because of the ease of doing business.
And you mentioned that a vast majority of your investors are Indian after all. So what's in it really for Indian investors?
This project is in line with Make in India.
Yeah.
How? You see, Indian investors, they are dependent upon face veneer, import of face veneer to make plywood in India.
Yep.
We are supplying face veneer and people are making plywood in India. We are supplying metal ingots to industries in India which are further using it in the manufacturing process. We are supplying good quality wood to Indian manufacturers who are processing it in India and then exporting to US and Europe.
Right.
So this way we are seeing synergy between India and Gabon.
From timber exports to hospitality, travel and tourism to mining and manufacturing, Gabon and its booming SEZ is an investor's paradise. Meet the entrepreneurs who are paving the way forward in this burgeoning economy. Africa is opening up to investments, and Gabon is emerging as one of the most politically and economically stable countries in the continent. It has clearly taken the lead in attracting investors by doling out a number of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives.
Hopefully, we see a lot of investors coming to Gabon to set up company, and it's increasing. Over the last 5 years, I could see that, and the trend come from Indian company, thanks to Olam's success story in Gabon. So this kind of story does help attract other investor, for instance, Indian. So from my point of view, we will see people will come, more investor will come to Gabon.
Gabon has the largest forest cover in the world. They have an excellent system of forest management, and we felt that raw material availability in the now and in the future is not likely to be a problem. And for the timber industry, we are largely dependent on input of raw material. So that was the primary reason. Other reasons are also there. For example, this country has very investor-friendly policies. Other than that, the law and order situation is perfect. Business processing approvals are very easy. Plus, we have the enabling structure of the SEZ, which helps us to operate smoothly.
Whilst wildlife-rich forests cover majority of Gabon's landmass, its picturesque beaches remain widely untouched. Here's a sneak peek at the best that Gabon has to offer. Gabon diversified its economy by creating 13 national parks and is home to the highest concentration of gorillas in Africa. The dense green forests of Gabon cover almost 75% of its land surface. One of the rarest species found in the heartland of Gabon are the swimming hippos. Besides being home to some of the richest wildlife, Gabon also provides for weekend getaways in tropical islands with some adventure sports like paragliding, quad biking and jet skiing.
Well, now that we've given you a sneak peek at all the action we have in store for you over the coming weeks, it's time to say goodbye. But stay tuned to Gabon Calling to meet the movers and the shakers who are truly making this a land of opportunity for India and beyond.
Next week on Gabon Calling, we bring you an exclusive interview with the President of the Republic of Gabon, Ali Bongo Ondimba.